Hi, I'm Oliver. Welcome to today's book discussion. So today's book is not a type of book that I have reviewed so far, and not a type of book that I've often seen reviewed on YouTube, and by not often, I think I actually mean never. But come on, let's remedy that and talk about this book. Now, if you've seen the title of the book, I'm going to be talking about a book from Judge Judith Shineland, aka Judge Judy, and it's called Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining. So we'll take a second to acknowledge that this is the best book title ever. Can we all agree on that? Good. Now, I'm French-Canadian. I live in Canada, so in Montreal now, but I'm from a small town, and Judge Judy was not on my radar until a few years ago when I started watching English television and, all those pop culture references and stuff like that. And I've mainly started hearing about her from Kathy Griffin, because she kept saying that Judge Judy was like porn for old people, and that her mother, Maggie Griffin, really loved watching Judge Judy. And I have Maggie Griffin's memoir called Tip It, and there's a chapter dedicated to Judge Judy. And after that book, I really, I started watching YouTube videos of her, and I discovered that she had written a lot of books. And at one point, I went to Toronto to a friend's wedding, and I went to Toronto's biggest bookstore. And I know that they have a lot of used bookstore, discontinued books, sort of the place known for you to go in those cases. And that's where I found Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining. I haven't checked if it's available as an ebook. You can check it out. I know that if you go on Amazon or Chapters Indigo website, you can find this book in the used book section, but well, if you make a regular research, you'll see that you can buy used copy. So yes, I highly recommend this book. Now, the family court or the child protective service really is, well, in the state dependent, and in Canada the same thing. Every province has its own law, order, regulation, way of working, etc., etc. And yet, amongst all of those differences, there is a common thread, or there are things that are specific, or even if there are things that are not exactly the same, you can definitely apply the approach of Judge Judith Shineland. So her approach was to be very critical of the flaws of the system and see how to overcome those flaws. And you can still apply or make parallel with what's going on in your own system. Now, if you've watched Judge Judy, any of her, either on TV, on YouTube, whatever, I'm sure if you're, especially if you're American, or maybe even Anglo-Saxon, I'm sure you've seen Judge Judy. Now, if you don't like Judge Judy or Judge Judy style, run away. You will not like this. If you do not know her, I would compare her to Emily Gilmore from the Gilmore Girls, because let's be honest, let's be honest. Okay, the best mother in the Gilmore Girls was not Lorelai, it was Emily. Yes, I stand firm by that position, and I know that I'm a very rare breed, but yes, Emily over Lorelai. Thank you. Because think for a second, y'all. Think for a second. Who created the better daughter? Yeah, there you go. The better daughter is Lorelai, not Rory. And who made that daughter? Emily. So there you go. Emily for the win. Yeah, I know, I'm probably stand alone, but that's what I think. And yeah, so if you've watched Judge Judy, she has a really strong approach toward responsibility, common sense, tough love, but love that's still, sometimes tough love is mandatory. So She's one of those. And no nonsense. And yet, yes, it might be the law, or you might give me that rhetoric, whatever. Use your noggin, and you might be able to find a solution. So what she does in this book, because she's written other book, I have another one of hers, and it's mainly like tips about relationships and should you write prenups, etc. So that other one's kind of boring. This one is fascinating. So she wrote it in the early 90s at a time where she was still appointed to the family court bench. She was still a family court judge, and she had been for years by that point. And before being a judge on the family court, she had been a prosecutor on the family court circuit. So she knows her stuff. So she's seen it all. And that's what you'll read. You'll read cases after cases after cases after cases. And when I say cases, I mean it's almost one every pages or one every 2 pages. So this book is filled with concrete example and retelling of things that she seen and heard. And if you think you know what's going on in the family court, you don't until you read it. Now, I have a great, okay, bear with me, I'm gonna go maybe on what might seem like a tangent, but you'll see the point. I love science fiction, okay? I love science fiction. I love, not all science fiction TV, but I love a lot of science fiction books. I love how science fiction will put things into a futuristic setting and ask a question about society that might seem remote because it's not taking place in our society, it's taking place in a futuristic society. But yet those fundamental questions or that dilemma or whatever applies to a contemporary society. Example, if you watched Battlestar Galactica, and I hope you have because it's a great, fantastic, smart series. And so I mean the sci-fi remake from of recent years. An example, so Battlestar Galactica was about how there were millions of people living, and then there was an attack from Cyborg, and everybody, almost all of the human race was wiped out except for 50,000 people who were then on the go in spaceship trying to find another planet to settle while being chased and by those Cylons or cyborg or robots. So it was asking, you know, those good old questions, what it means to be human, you know, are those robots human, etc., etc. And one of the very specific questions that was asked at one point was a question regarding women's rights and the right to abortion. So in the TV series, the right to abortion, the debate was, we had it, now we are in a different position where there's 50,000 people. Should we take the right to abortion away? What they ultimately do is that, yes, they are in a, you know, precautionary situation and they need to have as much babies as they can, basically. So that's a very big question. It's a great big question, but it's, you know, it's asked into a futuristic setting on an extraordinary circumstance situation that you and I will never face. We will never face that debate or that situation. But I still like seeing that debate. Now, in that book, she brings forward the situation of there's a lady at some point who was on welfare and she had 2 babies, and then she started getting drug addicted, and then she had 6 more babies. So she's had 8 babies, including 6 babies that were born crack addicted because she was taking crack during her pregnancy. And she says, should this woman have an abortion? Now, I've reached my conclusion, she's reached her conclusion, you can reach your conclusion. But that's the thing is, So, I mean, that's a very big, tough question. And you might think, oh, Judge Judy, you silly person on television who screams at people because you wrecked a car. Hardcore to Judge Judy. Let me tell you something. Hardcore. Hardcore. And so she's fantastic. She's about responsibility. She talks a lot about how so-called liberal programs have failed us in the past decades and are, by the way, still failing them and us because nothing has changed. And she talks about the well-meaning intention of welfare and social security, but how it's being scammed, how people are the gender bias in court, because she talked about how she'll have prosecutors basically saying, but the baby has to stay with the mother. I mean, the baby, she's her mother. Why does that have to do with anything? And why is mother better than father? Which she clearly sees and tries to put forward, so good for her. And because if you're a true feminist, you believe in gender equality, and that's what it means. So read it to maybe, yes, get enraged, but see it from an insider point of view. Don't read, it's not about what studies have shown. It's not about what some professor in sociology or a social worker, has seen. It's about a judge who sees 300 cases a month, 12 months a year for, I think, 25 years. So she has an expertise that is definitely worth considering, and an approach that is not very much valued, So she, regarding the mother who had 8 children, including 6 children who were born drug addicted, she says, if you have a baby who is born drug addicted, maybe not your fault. By your second, it's your fault. You should know better by your second, not two. And to have all that many, she says her sympathy lies with the born crack addicted children, babies, not the mother. And I do too, I'll be honest. And it makes you not reevaluate, but re-question. I mean, I'm not surrounded by that problem on a daily basis. So it's great to be exposed to it. And since it's a debate that needs to happen in, frankly, our society, meaning Canadian, American, whatever, it's worth examining and thinking and reassessing your position. And I mean, it's entertaining, it's super brisk, it's fast, it's loaded with real-life example and cases, with problems and solution. So get your hands on it and give it a try. If for no other reason than to say that you own a book with the best book title ever. Come on. So there you go. Do you like Judge Judy? So if you do, like the video if you like Judge Judy. And if you don't like Judge Judy, just don't click dislike, please. So leave comments in the comment section if you've read the book, if you think you're gonna read the book. If you have any other book suggestions, you can always leave them for me. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, take care. Bye.